Why is it that everything in your life suddenly stopped flowing? Why do the smiles around you feel fake, and the warmth in your home feels like it's gone? Why are your nights filled with fear? Why does your soul wake up tired even after hours of sleep? You were doing fine. Your risk was steady. Your heart had light. Then, it all changed. People turned cold. Doors slammed shut. And deep inside, you began to feel chained. This isn't just hardship. This isn't just a bad season. This is something darker, more hidden, more intentional. Someone, somewhere, used your name in a whisper, wrapped it around jealousy, and placed it in the hands of darkness, black magic. But here's the truth they didn't expect you to know. You are not powerless. You are not cursed. You are loved by Allah. And no magic, no spell, no evil hand can ever stop the will of the most merciful. Black magic is real, and for many it's not just a story whispered in village corners. It's a silent war waged behind smiles, an unseen attack carried out by those who carry hatred in their hearts. Sometimes it's the ones closest to you. A woman who once sat at your table, a friend who masked her envy with kind words, a stranger who couldn't stand your light. She didn't just dislike you, she couldn't bear your ease, your baraka, your happiness. So she turned to something ancient, forbidden, wicked. She called on jinn, tied knots in your name, and sent whispers into realms unseen, hoping to destroy your life piece by piece. And maybe it worked. For a moment. Maybe your wealth crumbled, your body weakened, your home filled with arguments, and the joy you once carried slipped through your fingers like sand. But here's what she forgot. You belong to Allah, and Allah is never absent. Not when you're in pain, not when you're afraid, not even when you've been cursed. This video is not just about exposing what was done, it's about freeing yourself. It's about stepping out of fear and stepping into divine protection. Because when you learn how to protect your soul with the words of Allah, even the strongest spell melts into nothing. Stay with me. We will walk through the signs, the pain, the healing. We'll remember the verses that burn the darkness. We'll rise from the ashes of sorrow and reclaim the peace that was always meant to be yours. By the will of the Most High, you will be free. You felt it, didn't you? There was a time when life made sense, when your laughter was real, your eyes sparkled with dreams, and your soul rested like a child in its mother's arms. But then, it began. First, it was the uneasiness. You'd walk into a room and feel like something was off. You'd sleep but wake up more tired than before. No reason, no diagnosis. Just a heaviness that clung to your chest like smoke. People around you couldn't see it. They'd say, it's just stress. You're overthinking, but your heart knew something was wrong. Doors that once opened easily began to close in your face. Love that once wrapped you in safety became sharp, cold, distant. You were breaking, but no one noticed. You cried in sujood, whispering through your sobs, Ya Allah, what is happening to me? The most painful part, you started doubting yourself. Am I crazy? Am I the problem? You weren't. You were under attack, not by a sword, but by something more silent, more evil. A darkness sent your way by someone who couldn't handle your light. And it wasn't because you did wrong, it was because you were chosen, because your presence disturbed the darkness that others had grown comfortable in. But here's the part they didn't expect. You didn't fall apart. You bent, yes. You cried, you screamed into pillows and questioned your worth. But somewhere in the chaos, you began to return. Return to the one who never left. Allah. 2. Yes, black magic exists. In a world of science and logic, we forget, not every battle is seen. Not every enemy is human. You didn't want to believe it. You thought it only happened in stories, until your life started unraveling thread by thread, and no explanation could be found. You were eating right, praying, working hard, yet things around you began to rot. Suddenly you hated what you used to love. Your mind felt foggy, your heart empty, and those eyes that once looked at you with love now avoided you altogether. You felt like a prisoner in your own body, And that's when someone said it. I think someone did something to you. You laughed at first. Denial is easier than fear, but deep down, something clicked. Because Islam doesn't deny this. Allah mentions in the Quran that people can harm others with sihr, magic, not just spells and dolls, but envy, dark whispers, curses tied in knots, hearts blackened by jealousy, and often, it's the ones closest to us. But here's the divine truth. Even if they tied 100 knots, even if they whispered in the darkness of night, they are not more powerful than the Lord of Light. Allah sees. He knows what they did. He knows what they hoped would happen to you. And He also knows what you will become in spite of them. 3. It wasn't your fault. You were gentle, maybe too gentle. Your kindness was not a weakness, but it made you an easy target. Your smile was sincere. Your intentions were pure. You gave love, advice, support, without keeping score. But someone watched you, and instead of being inspired, they became infected with jealousy, with a bitterness they couldn't tame. They wanted what you had, not knowing the tears it cost you. And when they couldn't become you, they tried to break you. It wasn't your fault. It was never your fault. This world has always been harsh on souls who shine. You wondered, why would someone hurt me? You blamed yourself. You thought, maybe I spoke too much. Maybe I smiled too brightly. Maybe I trusted the wrong person. But none of that justified their darkness. Islam doesn't tell you to become cold. It doesn't ask you to stop loving. It simply invites you to become wiser, to guard your heart and hand it only to Allah. Because the one who tied knots in secret can never untie what Allah protects. The one who whispered curses behind your back forgot that Allah listens to every whisper and records them all. And now you are healing. You're not who you were before. You're stronger, not just awake, but aware. Your pain became a doorway, your suffering, a path. And where did it lead? Back to Allah, back to your worth, back to your real protection. 4. The signs were there. You remember, don't you? The days you woke up heavy, as if gravity had doubled. The dreams, strange, disturbing, echoing into your mornings with a weight you couldn't explain. Sometimes you'd feel watched. Sometimes you'd feel choked in your sleep. And relationships, suddenly they cracked without reason. People you loved began pulling away. Jobs slipped through your fingers. You'd try and try, but doors refused to open. You saw it, you felt it, but no one believed you. They said, you're just being negative. Be grateful. And you were. You were grateful, but you were also drowning. The signs weren't always loud. Sometimes they were subtle. A whisper here, a tension there. A sudden anger that didn't feel like your own. A fear that didn't come from logic. You started to doubt your own mind. And yet, something inside you kept calling out. This is not just life. This is something deeper. Islam doesn't leave us blind. Allah, in His mercy, gave us tools, clues, remedies. He taught us through His messenger that black magic is real, but breakable, that knots can be undone, that darkness can be shattered with light. Those verses, Al-Falaq, An-Nas, Ayatul Kursi, they weren't just words, they were shields, placed gently in your hands by the most loving. The signs you felt weren't madness, they were alarms from your soul, from your Lord calling you home. 5. Break the chains. Spiritually, you don't need fire to fight fire. You don't need revenge. You don't need to match their darkness. You need the Quran. You need the word that split the sea, softened hearts, and destroyed magic with a single verse. You are not helpless. You are not unarmed. There is no spell they can cast that Allah's words cannot crush. No knot they can tie that Allah cannot untie. Begin, not with fear, but with wudu, with hands lifted in the silence of tahajjud, with a heart whispering, Hasbi Allahu la ilaha illa huwa. Wake before the world wakes. Stand when the world sleeps. Let your tears fall onto a prayer mat that never judged you. Let your voice rise to a sky that never rejected you. and recite. Recite with trembling lips and breaking heart. Surah Al-Falaq, Surah An-Nas, Ayat al-Kursi. Each verse, a dagger of Noor. Each word, a fortress of light. And day by day you'll feel it. The weight will lift, the fog will clear, and what was once tangled will start to release. Because healing doesn't always come in noise. Sometimes it arrives quietly, through a verse, a prayer, a single, Ya Allah, help me. 6. Allah is greater than all evil. There is no spell greater than His name, no jinn stronger than His will, no magic more enduring than His mercy. They tried, they plotted, they gathered in secret, whispering curses into knots. But they forgot one thing. You have Allah, He who sees in the dark, He who hears what no ear can hear, He who defends His servants when they can't even lift their own heads. You are not alone. You were never alone. Allah was there, when you cried silently, when you begged in sajda, when you couldn't explain your pain to anyone. And Allah is not just watching, He is responding. He is sending angels as we speak. He is preparing a day when all the hidden will be shown. Every whisper, every curse, every knot will be exposed, undone, reversed, not because of your strength, but because of your submission, because you placed your trust in Him when the world offered you nothing but shadows. You are not a victim. You are a survivor, held in the arms of Ar-Rahman, guarded by His words, protected by His decree. And soon, you'll walk again with peace in your chest and light in your steps. Because when Allah says, be, even the darkest magic shatters. 7. Walk away. But don't hate they hurt you. Yes, they did. And you have every reason to feel the fire. Every reason to want revenge, to expose them, to ask Allah to show His might, here, now loud. But listen, you were not created to carry poison in your soul. You were not sent to this earth to mirror their darkness. You were created for something higher, something purer, something radiant. Let them have their shadows. You, return to light. Because if you let hate settle in your heart, you become a prisoner even after the chains are broken. You keep reliving the curse they once tied, long after Allah untied it. So walk away, let go. Not because they deserve peace, but because you do. Because your heart is too sacred to be a battlefield for someone else's evil. And as you walk toward the one who never abandoned you, not once. He was there when you trembled. He was there when your voice broke in dua. He caught the tears you didn't even notice falling. Now He's telling you, I am sufficient for you. Let those words wrap around you like a blanket on a cold night. Let them remind you, you are not defined by what was done to you. You are defined by who you turn to. So turn, not to revenge, not to bitterness, but to Him. And as you do, you'll feel it. That first breath of real freedom, that silent joy returning to your chest, the peace that no magic could touch, because it came from the throne of Allah. This test wasn't to break you, it was to bring you back to the arms of the most merciful, back to the strength you didn't know lived within you, back to the truth that you are never alone, you are never powerless, you are never beyond healing, because you belong to Allah, and today, you are free. If this message found your heart in a dark place, then know it wasn't by accident. Allah guided you here, to remember, to reflect, to rise. Don't keep this reminder to yourself. Share it with someone who may be silently struggling too. Your small act could be the light they've been waiting for. If you've ever felt attacked by the unseen, crushed by the weight of something you can't explain, this space is for you. This channel exists to remind you that healing through the Quran, through divine love, is real. So don't forget to subscribe and join this journey. We walk through the pain together. With Allah by our side, there is nothing we cannot overcome. Leave a comment if you felt this, or if you just need a place to breathe, to release, to be understood. This isn't just a video, it's a gathering of hearts returning to their Lord. Your voice is safe here. Your story matters. And remember, no matter what they did to you, no matter what was whispered, tied, cursed, or wished upon you, Allah's mercy is stronger. Your connection to Him is your armor. Keep reciting, keep walking, keep healing. Until we meet again, take care of your soul. Cleanse your heart often and protect your light fiercely, because this world desperately needs it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. May Allah heal you, protect you, and elevate you, always.